All right, everybody. Happy Monday, May 19th. It is currently, just for a little bit of, I wouldn't say spoilers, but just disclaimer, we'll say, 7:15. I do not know the score of the game right now. They're playing the Reds. Keller's on the mound. Hopefully it's going well. I will not look until after this game. I know it's one of 162, so it really shouldn't matter. But just for, making some predictions and stuff here, so trying to be as honest as possible. And yeah, first YouTube video. This is what we're doing. No editing. There is not even a PowerPoint. Just, hey, this is what we're talking about. First three series with Don Kelly, Brian Reynolds, where I think he's going to be going, some reinforcements that are already here, and hopefully some changes. Also, on that note, a little bit of bad news today, which really hurt that point, but it's fine. Still some stuff. The Tigers from last year, we're Pittsburgh Pirates fans. I don't know if we're really familiar with kind of what happened in Detroit last year and how they obviously made the playoffs, but kind of how they got there. Some previous years, which unfortunately is just kind of precedent for what we've already seen. And then, of course, you got to end, the spicy video with some spicy takes. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Just jump right into it. I think right away, Don Kelly, three really hard series to start his MLB career as the manager. Braves, yes, they aren't, as dominant maybe as they've been. They still have the bones of a good team, and they played them well. They played good games against the Braves. They took 2 of 3. Could have had 3, right? That's going to be kind of the running theme with these 3 series, but could have had 3 in that series. They did a really good job at least getting 2. 1 and 2 against the Mets. I personally despise the Mets. I don't know if that's a hot take, but like last year when they were in PNC, oh my goodness, their fans were so rude and so mean. But whatever, that's regardless. A little bit of a digression there, but I love beating the Mets, and especially when they have like the biggest payroll in baseball. So late game stuff kind of came down to like I think it was the second game that the ball went off of IKF or off the bag that got ruled an error, and IKF would have had a clean play on it. Regardless, super close. Phillies, kind of the same thing. Tommy Pham, tough catch out and left. He makes that. Maybe we don't walk 6 runs in, or not actually, but walk at least I think it was 3, and then again, IKF almost has a double play on the one run that they score against Skeens. And Cabrian just misses making the play in the first place to kind of give up the first hit. So, again, we'll get to the offense. Yes, the offense needs to score more than 4 runs at some point or just be the worst offense ever. I don't think they will, but that's what they've been. They're in really high esteemed territory right now, or disesteemed, I suppose, for how bad they've been on offense. So, yes, they need to score more than 0 runs to win a baseball game, or preferably more than 4 at some point. So, regardless, those 3 series, just kind of the point that I wanted to make initially, they haven't had any easy teams in a while, and it does lighten up this week, and that's kind of going to get into my predictions later, but like, the Reds and the Brewers are beatable teams. They're in the division. They're not the NL East. The NL East has just kind of been the class. And I wouldn't say the class of the NL because the NL West is probably the actual best division. But the NL East has always had competitive teams, save for the Nats and the Marlins. So all of that to say, 3 hard teams. What would that be? 3. They went 3-6. I would say 3 of those losses were, I want to say, preventable. They were really close. Could have gone either way. And they just didn't. The ball didn't bounce our way a couple of times, and that's kind of how it goes, which has happened a lot this year. Let's move on to point 2. So Brian Reynolds, right now he has a negative 1.1 WAR. I think I saw in North Shore 9 he's the worst player in baseball according to WAR. Maybe another stat, but he's been really bad, and we all know that. There's been how many games that we're down 1, we're down 2. We have a man on second and third. It's tied late in the game. Pardon me. And all we need is Brian is to get a single, sac fly, but it's a strikeout, it's a ground out double play. It's been bad. Negative 1 point WAR, below average. Literally has cost us a win according to that stat. All of that to say, Brian's worst season was in 2020, and that's obviously the COVID shortened season, and that was a .4 WAR. Okay, so just going off of historical context of like what Brian, the worst that he's ever been, we're gonna get if he meets that .4, we're gonna get 1.5 win Brian Reynolds moving forward. Not incredible. It's better than negative 1.1. That alone will get a couple of runs in these games. I think if we had 2 WAR, maybe not 2 might be a little too high. It's only a third of the way through the season. We'll say 1.5 WAR. Brian Reynolds, maybe even 1. We probably have 3 or 4 more wins right now. It's not all on him, obviously, but like just where he's been in the lineup, when we need a big hit, he would have come through pretty clutch in those situations, and I think he will start to come through. Because y'all know, June Brian Reynolds is coming. He's got to take some paternity leave, for having a little one, and that's awesome. He might come back supercharged, and we'll get June and July. Just supercharged Brian Reynolds. But I think there's a really big heater coming up, and that was the shortened .4. His lowest WAR in a full season is 2, or 2.5. Pardon me, is 2.5. I'm not even predicting he gets up to 2.5. I'm just saying over the rest of this season, we get 3 WAR we get 3 WAR Brian Reynolds, which would give him to at least 2. So technically 3.1, but we'll just say 3 for easy numbers. I'm predicting that he is going to turn it around, start playing like a 3 WAR player, hitting, I would say primarily like a 3 WAR hitter, and get to at least 2 WAR by the end of the season. And that alone is going to get the Pirates, at least 3 wins. That's at least 3 wins right there, just according to that stat. But what it actually does on the baseball field is probably going to lead to 5, 6, 7 wins because he's coming in the clutch. He's getting 2 home runs in 1 big game, what have you. He's going to start heating up. Again, June Brian Reynolds always does. I think just this whole summer, June, July, August, he's really going to be a player to watch out for. So all of that to say, Brian's going to be heating up, and we already have reinforcements coming for the offense and also a little bit on the pitching side of things. So Horowitz already came back. Yes, the wrist stuff. Maybe he won't be Superman hitting the ball out of the park. From what I know about him and his hit tool, I hate even saying that. I'm not not a baseball savant, know all the stuff. But just from what I've heard, he is very good at like swing rate, so swinging at pitches in the zone, and chase rate. I think that's the actual term. So chase rate, not chasing bad pitches, and then contact. This team struggles with contact. That's what we need, is a contact hitter, not somebody who just hits singles, which is primarily our team right now. But in those situations, right now we struggle to hit 3 or 4 in a row. If you have Horowitz in there more consistently, he might be like, we get the hit, the first guy gets a hit, the second guy strikes out, third guy gets a hit, the next 2 strike out. Well, what if we went first 2 get a hit, the next 3 might still strike out, but it adds one more to the chain of somebody that you kind of trust to get a hit and not strike out. Putting the ball in play, making the defense do something with it. Yes, they're all professional defenses and very good at baseball. It's a lot easier where they don't have to do anything. The catcher just has to catch the ball whenever you strike out. So I think Horowitz is gonna be a really, really nice addition. Again, maybe not the power, and it's not going to become a Ben Sherrington trash video. Maybe not what we needed this offseason, but it's something, and he's finally coming back, and that's going to be really big. Gonzalez. I mean, man, the first game of the year, he hit a home run. Yeah, he broke his ankle doing it, but, he hit a home run first game. What if we're not going to know until he comes back, but maybe he's found something, too. Again, if anything, just a little bit more of a reliable bat in the middle to late part of the lineup. If you can put him, I would say anywhere from 3 to 6, I think we've seen him in. So him and Horowitz filling in that 3 to 6 just lengthens things by 2 people that I really do think helps tremendously with not having 7, 8, 9 where you're just begging, you're just praying for somebody to make contact with the ball. I think those days are going to be behind us soon. So, with that said, the one big pitching thing I wanted to bring up was Bubba Chandler. Monster. Monster in AAA right now. Don't have the exact stats. I just know he doesn't give up a lot of runs and he strikes a lot of people out. If he comes up, the move that I do genuinely believe anyone who follows the Pirates thinks should happen is Carmen Mlodzinski moves to the bullpen, where he is incredible. He gets through the lineup one time, destroys. Really good reliever. We get into that second time as a starter, and yes, he's had, I think, 2 starts maybe where he's done pretty well, but he's had probably, like 7 or 8 starts now. And you need a little bit more consistency, which we're kind of getting out of every other starter. So Bubba moving into the starting rotation, Carmen moving down to the bullpen, you have I'll kind of run through what we could be seeing here, but like that strengthens both sides. While again, the offense is being strengthened with Horowitz and Gonzalez. So lineup just kind of, you guys in the comments can kind of, oh, the order is off and that's crazy that you have him ahead of him. That's fine. You can play around with the order all you want. But just kind of what I came up with here. For lineup, O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, 3 WAR. Brian Reynolds, by the way, at least 3 WAR. Kutch, Gonzalez, Canario, Horowitz, any combination of Bart, Davis, and Endy, Cabrian Hayes, and IKF. Now, is that lineup Los Angeles Dodgers-esque? No. I'm not here to say they're going to be one of the best offenses in the league. I don't think they'll be the worst. And that is what is losing them games. We all know that. Scoring 1 run, 2 runs, not scoring 5 for a month, like that's insane. But the offense is going to be better. And the pitching is so good that improved offense is going to take this team, I do think, to a lot of wins coming up over these next few months. So that lineup, I also just realized the mic was right by my mouth. If I was yelling for the first 10 minutes, I just really love the Pirates. So, but sorry for your ears if I was. But that could be the lineup. And then rotation, again, obviously Skeens, Keller, Fulter, Heaney, and then you throw Chandler in there. So you have Skeens, Keller as your big 1-2. Heaney's been pitching like a 2, if not like a 1B so far this year, but we'll just say he's the 3. And then you have Chandler and Fulter as your 4-5. Fulter is a really, really good back of the rotation guy. He struggles, on the road. This last time he gave up 0 runs, only went like 3 innings, but hey, 0 runs is 0 runs. And with this team, 0 runs is a lot. So, and Chandler, if he has, it's not fair, I don't think, to say he needs to be like Paul Skeens. No one ever has really done that. If he can be, obviously just be himself in how he pitched in AAA, can correlate kind of to the same level that like Skeens, how he was doing, correlated very well to the MLB. I think he'll be a great 4th pitcher. And he's someone else that's just going to learn the more and more as the year goes on and hopefully just get better and better. So that rotation with that lineup, I do think that lineup can score 4 or 5 runs. Not every game, but a lot of games. And that rotation can give up only 2 or 3 runs most games. Give you a chance. They give us a chance to win pretty much every game already. So I think the offense is really going to improve. The rotation is already good. It's just going to get better. And then the bullpen. I didn't write down everyone that will be in it, but just having Carmen in the bullpen is going to help so much. I love the idea. I think, again, on North Shore 9, they said it the other day. It might have been DK, but like Mlodzinski in the 7th, Bednar in the 8th, and then Dennis Santana in the 9th. I think that is a monster 1, 2, 3, especially the way Bednar's come back. So I don't want to hammer that point for a little bit there, but I really do think the reinforcements are going to help a ton. Now, last year, I don't know if people know this, because again, we're Pirates fans, so we're not really like tracking other teams that much. The Detroit Tigers on August 11th, so 3 months, under 3 months, we'll say just under 3 months of where we're at right now, had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. They were 8 games under 500. Point two. That's negligible. You're not supposed to make the playoffs. Probably one of the greatest runs they ever had, but I don't know the exact record they had from August 12th on. I do know in September they had 8 losses. That's incredible for an entire month, especially like that high stakes. They only averaged 4.5 runs that whole August 12th to the end of September. 4.5. They weren't bombing everybody. They weren't crushing everybody. They were beating people with good pitching and beating them by 1 or 2. Yeah, they had their blow up games of like 11 runs, 9 runs, whatever. The Pirates do that every once in a while too. But just looking at their roster and looking at our roster, their hitters were definitely better, especially where we're at right now. But their pitching lined up pretty similarly, and we, if anything, might have had even better pitching. I think you can make the comparison that Paul Skeens is to Tariq Skubal, and then the rest of kind of their rotation lines up pretty well with ours. So I could just see like the Pirates kind of going on that run that the Tigers did. They were 8 games under. We have a 0.3% chance of making the playoffs. So, like, we have a better shot right now, technically, than the Tigers did way later in the year. We have way more time to make it up. So, yeah, regardless to say, as of today, we're at 0.3% chance, and the Tigers are at 0.2 on August 11th. The Cardinals, they could have included them. Just a quick tidbit. I hate the Cardinals. They're actually the team I hate the most. They had like a 1% chance in 2021. They figured it out. So like, yeah, we're not the Cardinals, but I think we're a lot closer to like the Tigers. They're doing really well this year, but they haven't necessarily been like a world beater franchise for decades over at a time. They kind of have a couple good years here and there, Miguel Cabrera and stuff like that, but they kind of struggle a lot of the time like us. So, Tigers did it last year. I think there's precedent for it. I wouldn't say precedent. There was one time that it happened last year, so it could happen this year, Why not? Last big point I want to make, we see what has happened this year every year since, unfortunately, Ben Sherrington has been the GM. So 2021, they were terrible, but they were at 38-60 and proceeded to go 15-41. Got them to 53-91. Okay, that was a bad team. As people have mentioned and as I've heard, those were bad lineups. Those are terrible hitters. Don't even remember who's on that team a lot of the time. Like, just not a good team. Fair. 2022. They were 40-55 and went up to 55-96. Guess what, folks? That's worse by 10 games than the year before. 15-41 run. 15-41. So imagine the Pirates got swept for 3 more series. That's what we're talking about. That's the level of ineptitude that happened that year. But they're supposed to be bad. It's fine. They're still rebuilding. I get it. 2023 is the tough one. And this is where things really hurt a lot more. They had that beautiful 20-8 start. Pittsburgh was on fire. April was so fun. Everyone was watching. I remember going into work and people were excited to talk about the Pirates. Did you see that game? You see G1 Bay make that catch and hit that home run? It was so fun. It was great. This is why we need a good team a baseball team in Pittsburgh. It's just all we want. We would love it. But anyway, they proceeded to go 15-34. From 20-8 to 15-34 over their next 49 games, got them to 35-42. And I'm sure anyone who watched baseball that year will remember that was the lovely stretch of games where they got swept by the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Cubs. 3 in-division rivals. All 3 of us were at the top of the standings. We were actually in first before that first Cubs series. And when you lose 10 in a row to your division, you lose 10 in a row in general. But to your division exclusively, goodbye first place, goodbye season, sayonara. Brutal, but 15-34. Still worse than what we're at right now. 2024 is kind of the biggest point that I wanted to make. Not even make, but just kind of alludes to what maybe this year has. So 11-6 is how they started. Ended up going 26-31. Or becoming 26-31, which would have been 15-25 over their next 40 games. Okay? Not great. 5 games under. Still have a chance. They did recover. We had a really, really good run there in June and July. More so more so June, early July, because I'm sure, as you will all remember from last year, post All-Star break, we had to go to the West Coast. And we lost every single game. Well, we beat the Diamondbacks once. But it was the Astros game that Holderman, I think, gave up 2 home runs or something like that. And it was just a crazy game against the Astros that we lost that one. And then the skis fell off. So we were 55 and 52. Ended up going 15 and 26 to get to 70 and 78. 15 and 25 and 15 and 26 are not as bad as 15 and 32. That's a lot of games. It's 2 extra series that we've gotten swept, which has happened. Phillies, Cardinals, Padres. But I wanted to just make the point that we have seen this every year. So it's like the only thing different this year is we didn't have the hope in April. I truly do believe that it's going to kind of reverse this year. Everything has gone wrong this year. The Miami Marlins series to start the year, we swept them last year. We lost 3 games because of our own blunders, bad base running, errors in the field, what have you. Pick your choice. We lost pretty much every single game. Moving forward, I'm not going to run through the whole season, but just we've lost a lot of games. Actually, we've lost 11 games by 1 single run. Only 1 game behind the Boston Red Sox. The offense improving because of the pieces we have coming back, and people I do think that they're just going to hit better, especially Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds, Spencer Horwitz, Nick Gonzalez, taking the place of, we'll just say Tommy Pham, Adam Frazier, and Valdez. Oh, Valdez has been decent, but we'll just say Valdez. He's played first the most, or Matt Gorski's kind of been there now. Those are really big upgrades. And even if Horwitz, again, isn't a power hitter, he's going to be better than what we've had at first base right now. So all of the previous kind of years to say, what we have coming up, the schedules doesn't get a lot easier. We've had the 5th hardest schedule in the whole league. We have the 8th hardest the rest of the year. So technically, it does get easier. It's not going to be easy. But this team has lost so many games by 1 run and by 1 bad bounce or 1 bit like this, that, the other. You can make the case that they should have 6 or 7 more wins. Yeah, but they have to hit. And I do think at the end of the day, those hits are coming. They've had this terrible stretch. They've got it out of the way is kind of how I'm looking at it. It happens every year. And I, again, don't want to make this a Ben Sherrington trashing Ben Sherrington video, but that's just kind of what we've come to expect. The only difference is the hope is not there right now. And I think over the next 2 months, we will start accumulating that hope as we get closer and closer to 500 with each series win and a couple of sweeps. But all of that to say, I did not expect this to go for 20 minutes. Holy bucket. I love the Pirates, I guess. It's fun to talk about. There's some fun predictions that I have. So I think 100% that we're going to have a no-hitter this year. We're not going to get no-hit. That may happen. But we are going to pitch a no-hitter. I don't know if it'll be by 1 pitcher. I mean, obviously Skeens is the shoe-in for that. But like last year, we had a couple chances at it with combined, and ended up, I think it was the Brewers and the Cubs ended up getting a hit like in the 8th or 9th. So I could 100% see this year, if it's not Skeens, I think Keller has got some good stuff in him. I don't want to say Bubba. That would be kind of crazy if he just came in and threw a no-hitter. But, he's got really good stuff. I just have a feeling like our pitching is so good that we're going to have a no-hitter at some point this year. Now, right now, they are playing the Reds. I hope they're not losing 6-0. This would look so funny. It probably already will look funny in 2 months' time when nothing that I am saying happens. But if things play out how I think they will, this upcoming stretch is massive. And it's going to be where the turnaround starts. They have the Reds for 3, they have the Brewers for 4, and then they have the Diamondbacks for 3. Over those 10 games, I'm not going to predict 2-1, 3-1, whatever. I don't care how they do it. I think they're going to go 7-3. At least 7-3 over these next 10. That's going to jumpstart things. They have 10 games, a break, Padres, and a break again, I believe. Padres are a tough team. But this series right here, this series of 10 games starts the 7-3 run, at least. If let's just say they go 7-3, that gets them down to 11 games under 500. Still a lot. They still have some hard stuff coming up, but that gets us to June. And May has not been kind to the Pittsburgh Pirates since Ben Cherington's become our general manager. So I think if they can get to June, 11 games under, feeling good, playing better baseball and winning games, they're going to be in a good spot. I mean, guys, the Cardinals just won like 12 in a row. Again, are they a better franchise than us overall? Yes, they just are and have been for a long time. But the Twins won like 10 in a row recently. Teams can go on hot streaks, and I think that we've got at least a 20-8 run in us. If not right now, then hopefully my next bullet point, actually, I led myself right into that. I was meaning to. I think August, if we're going to replicate the 2024 Detroit Tigers and have 8 losses in a month, I think it's going to be in August. Ironically, again, the opposite of kind of what things have been. We didn't start out well this year. Previous years, we start out well. We're in it at the All-Star break. We make we make trades at the deadline, and then we fall apart. This year, I think the hope's not there. They're going to slowly build back up, we'll call it 5 or 6 games under 500 by All-Star break. And then I don't think they're going to make a lot of moves. Hopefully they don't trade all of our players away too. I didn't really account for that. But regardless, in August, assuming a lot of this core is still here, they go on a tear. Their post All-Star break schedule, from what I remember, is a little bit lighter. So that'd be a nice, again, just get things right when you come back. Offense right now is last in baseball, 141 runs, I believe. They are currently 40 runs behind the 20th place team, the Los Angeles Angels. I am going to predict that this team will end up at least in 20th place in runs scored by the end of the year. So the 9 teams between them and the Angels, they're going to score more than 40 runs then over the next 2/3 of the season. And finally, guys, the big prediction. The one you came to the video for. I guess you had to wait 30 minutes to hear it, but I think this team makes the playoffs. I truly believe that this team is going to go on a really special run over the rest of this year. They're going to end with 86 wins, meaning they have to go 71-44 the rest of the way. I did a little math. That is a .645 winning percentage. That is incredibly high. Something the Pirates haven't really done before. But I think they will. I don't know why. I just have faith. Probably that I shouldn't have. I'm way too much of an optimist. But watching the team, they are not as bad as their record says, regardless of whatever famous saying that head coach has. Not this team. This team is better than what they're playing as. And yeah, just again, all of the points we kind of talked about. The one thing I would love for them to make the playoffs, if that prediction's right, cool. I really hope Ryan Reynolds does pull out of it. He's just such a cool player. I feel like he's so Pittsburgh. He just really fits the team so well, and I'm really pulling for him. Just like Bednar, I'm so glad that he's playing better. It was tough watching him struggle because he wants it so bad, you know. So I mean, they all do, but regardless, this has already been a long enough tangent. This was fun. First YouTube video. I guess I can talk for 30 minutes just off the cuff, and hopefully not too many ums and likes and random pauses, but this was fun. If you watched this long, you're the best. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate you. And now I'm going to upload this and hopefully not go to ESPN and see that they're losing 10-0. Because that would be kind of funny. Sad, but also kind of funny. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in, sticking around, and more videos coming. About what? I don't know. That's we're still figuring out what we're doing on this channel. But regardless, have a good night, and I'll see you guys soon.